Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel, The Loophole. In 2022, federal agents stood outside a luxury Manhattan apartment holding a warrant for 120,000 Bitcoin, worth over $3 billion. The coins had been stolen a decade earlier, passed through thousands of digital wallets, and hidden in plain sight on a public blockchain that anyone could see but no one could trace. How do you hide billions of dollars in a system designed to be transparent? Cryptocurrency was born from a promise of financial transparency. Every Bitcoin transaction ever made sits on a public ledger called the blockchain, visible to anyone with an internet connection. The idea was revolutionary. A financial system where trust came from mathematics, not institutions, and where money moved freely across borders without banks or governments standing in the way. But that promise carried a shadow. The same features that made crypto attractive to technology enthusiasts and libertarians also made it irresistible to criminals, tax evaders, and authoritarian regimes seeking to bypass international sanctions. By 2024, according to blockchain analysis firm Chainalysis, illicit cryptocurrency transactions reached an estimated $24 billion annually. What began as a tool for financial freedom has become one of the most sophisticated methods for hiding wealth the world has ever seen. The race between those hiding money and those trying to find it has transformed into a technological arms race with billions of dollars at stake. The story begins in 2009, when an anonymous creator using the name Satoshi Nakamoto launched Bitcoin. Early adopters were cryptographers, computer scientists, and digital privacy advocates who saw potential for a currency beyond government control. For the first few years, Bitcoin remained obscure, traded mostly on forums and used experimentally. Then in 2011, someone discovered a darker application. The Silk Road Marketplace opened in February 2011, operating on the dark web and accepting only Bitcoin as payment. Created by Ross Ulbricht under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, it became the first major platform where drugs, fake documents, and illegal services could be purchased with cryptocurrency. The site processed over $1 billion in transactions before the FBI shut it down in October 2013 and arrested Ulbricht. He was later convicted and sentenced to life in prison without parole. But the model had been proven. Cryptocurrency could facilitate anonymous commerce at scale. In 2016, the Bitfinex cryptocurrency exchange was hacked. Thieves stole approximately 120,000 Bitcoin, worth about $71 million at the time. The coins moved through an elaborate series of digital wallets, mixing services and exchanges. Law enforcement tracked the money on the blockchain, but couldn't identify who controlled it. The thieves waited patiently, watching their stolen fortune grow to over $4 billion, as Bitcoin's price soared. In February 2022, federal agents finally arrested Ilya Lichtenstein and his wife, Heather Morgan, in Manhattan, recovering most of the stolen funds. It was the largest financial seizure in Department of Justice history. Meanwhile, cryptocurrency was evolving beyond Bitcoin. Monero launched in 2014 with privacy features built directly into its code, making transactions genuinely untraceable. Zcash followed in 2016 with similar capabilities using advanced cryptography called zero-knowledge proofs. These privacy coins attracted both legitimate users concerned about surveillance and criminals seeking to hide illegal proceeds. European law enforcement agencies reported in 2020 that Monero had become the preferred currency for ransomware payments and dark web markets. The scale expanded dramatically, with nation-states entering the picture. According to a 2021 report from blockchain intelligence firm TRM Labs, North Korea's Lazarus Group had stolen an estimated $400 million in cryptocurrency through hacking campaigns targeting exchanges. The regime allegedly used these funds to finance its weapons programs, circumventing international sanctions. Russia faced similar accusations after invading Ukraine in 2022, with reports suggesting oligarchs and officials were using cryptocurrency to move wealth beyond the reach of Western sanctions. The U.S. Treasury Department confirmed it was tracking these activities, but acknowledged the difficulty of enforcement. By 2023, the infrastructure for hiding crypto wealth had become remarkably sophisticated. Mixing services like Tornado Cash allowed users to deposit cryptocurrency and withdraw it to different addresses, breaking the chain of custody. Decentralized exchanges operated without corporate oversight, enabling anonymous trading. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, were allegedly used to move value through art sales with inflated prices. Law enforcement struggled to keep pace. Then in August 2022, the U.S. Treasury sanctioned Tornado Cash itself, marking the first time a piece of software, rather than a person or organization, had been banned. The decision sparked intense legal debates about whether code itself could be criminal. The challenge in documenting cryptocurrency's role in illicit finance is separating confirmed cases from speculation. Blockchain analysis firms like Chainalysis, Elliptic, and TRM Labs publish annual reports tracking illegal transactions. Their 2024 data showed that approximately 0.34% of all cryptocurrency transaction volume involved illicit activity, down from previous years, but still representing billions in absolute terms. These firms use pattern analysis, tracking transactions across wallets and flagging addresses associated with known criminal entities. However, their methodologies are proprietary, and critics argue the estimates may be conservative given the difficulty of detecting sophisticated laundering. Law enforcement agencies have confirmed specific cases through court documents and press releases. The U.S. Department of Justice has successfully prosecuted dozens of cryptocurrency-related cases, from the Silk Road to the 2022 Bitfinex seizure. Europol's European Cybercrime Center published a 2023 report documenting the use of cryptocurrency in ransomware attacks, estimating over $600 million paid to hackers in 2022 alone. These are verified prosecutions with evidence presented in court, not allegations or estimates. The North Korea connection comes from multiple intelligence sources. A 2023 United Nations report documented cryptocurrency thefts attributed to North Korean hacking groups, with blockchain analysis tracing stolen funds to addresses believed to be controlled by the regime. The U.S. Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control has sanctioned specific cryptocurrency addresses linked to North Korean entities. However, definitive proof of how these funds are used remains classified or circumstantial, relying on intelligence assessments rather than public evidence. The use of cryptocurrency to evade sanctions after Russia's invasion of Ukraine remains hotly disputed. The U.S. Treasury and European Union implemented sanctions targeting Russian banks and individuals, explicitly warning that cryptocurrency could be used to circumvent restrictions. Blockchain analysis firms reported increased crypto activity from Russia following the sanctions, but the volume remained relatively small compared to traditional finance. A 2023 report from the Atlantic Council concluded that while some evasion was occurring, cryptocurrency had not become the primary sanctions-busting tool that regulators feared. The technology's transparency and the existence of regulated on-ramps and off-ramps created choke points where enforcement could still operate. Cryptocurrency advocates argue that the focus on illicit use is overblown and ignores the legitimate applications. They point out that according to the same Chainalysis data, over 99% of cryptocurrency transactions are legal. They cite statistics from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, showing that traditional banking systems still process far more money laundering than crypto, estimated at between $800 billion and $2 trillion annually. From this perspective, cryptocurrency is being unfairly stigmatized for problems that exist predominantly in conventional finance. Privacy-focused developers argue that financial anonymity is a human right, not a criminal tool. They point to activists in authoritarian countries who use cryptocurrency to receive funding when traditional channels are blocked. Human Rights Foundation and organizations like the Electronic Frontier Foundation have documented cases where dissidents in Belarus, Myanmar, and Hong Kong relied on cryptocurrency donations to continue their work. They contend that privacy coins and mixing services serve essential purposes for vulnerable populations, and that banning these tools punishes legitimate users to stop a minority of criminals. Skeptics and regulators counter that the ease of use and borderless nature of cryptocurrency make it uniquely dangerous. Former Treasury official and current Director of Financial Crimes at a major consultancy firm, Michael Mosier, testified to Congress in 2023 that cryptocurrency allows individuals to become their own bank without any compliance infrastructure. Traditional money laundering requires complicit bankers, shell companies, and physical movement of cash, all of which create detection opportunities. Cryptocurrency removes these friction points, potentially democratizing financial crime in ways that threaten global security. A significant gap exists in measuring the true scale of the problem. Blockchain analysis can identify suspicious patterns, but cannot always determine intent. A wallet receiving funds from a known criminal address might be another criminal or an innocent merchant who unknowingly accepted tainted coins. The pseudonymous nature of cryptocurrency makes it difficult to distinguish between legitimate privacy seekers and criminals. Additionally, growing use of privacy-preserving technologies means that an unknown percentage of transactions now occur completely off the transparent blockchain, making any estimate inherently incomplete. For victims of ransomware attacks, cryptocurrency has turned their nightmare into an untraceable dead end. Hospital systems from Ireland to the United States have been crippled by hackers who encrypt medical records and demand payment in Bitcoin. In 2021, the Colonial Pipeline attack disrupted fuel supplies across the American Southeast, causing panic buying and shortages. The company paid $4.4 million in cryptocurrency to restore operations. While the FBI later recovered much of that payment, most ransomware victims never see their money again. They face an impossible choice: pay criminals and fund more attacks, or lose irreplaceable data and potentially endanger lives. Small investors and ordinary people are often the hidden casualties of crypto's dark side. When exchanges are hacked or revealed to be fraudulent, as happened with FTX in November 2022, regular users lose their savings. The FTX collapse wiped out an estimated $8 billion in customer funds, much of it belonging to people who believed cryptocurrency represented financial independence. Retirees, young professionals, and families in developing countries saw their accounts frozen, then discovered their money had been secretly lent out, gambled away, or simply stolen. Unlike bank failures with deposit insurance, cryptocurrency users have few protections and limited legal recourse. In nations facing economic crisis, the dual nature of cryptocurrency becomes painfully clear. In Venezuela, where hyperinflation destroyed the national currency, citizens turned to Bitcoin to preserve value and access foreign goods. It provided a genuine lifeline for survival. But that same system enabled corrupt officials to siphon state resources and hide them beyond the reach of justice. The technology that helped ordinary Venezuelans also helped the regime that oppressed them. This paradox plays out globally, where the same tool can liberate and exploit depending on who wields it. Think of cryptocurrency as a glass house where everyone can see the rooms, but nobody knows who lives there. Traditional money moves through opaque pipes controlled by banks who verify your identity and report suspicious activity. Cryptocurrency moves through transparent pipes where every transaction is public, but the pipes connect to numbered doors with no names attached. You can watch money flow from door to door, but you can't see who opens them without additional detective work. The deeper issue is about power and jurisdiction. For centuries, Governments controlled money by controlling the institutions that moved it. They could freeze accounts, seize assets, and trace transactions because money flowed through regulated channels. Cryptocurrency routes around this control, creating a parallel financial system beyond traditional enforcement. This isn't inherently good or evil. It's a redistribution of power from institutions to individuals. The question becomes whether society can maintain security and justice when financial power is decentralized, or whether the loss of institutional oversight creates more harm than freedom. Historically, every new technology for moving value has faced this tension. Medieval bankers developed bills of exchange to move money without physically transporting gold, and authorities worried about losing control of trade. Offshore banking in the 20th century created tax havens that benefited both wealthy individuals seeking privacy and criminals laundering proceeds. The pattern repeats. Technology enables freedom, freedom enables abuse. Society struggles to balance both. Cryptocurrency represents the most extreme version of this cycle, because unlike offshore banks, which still operate within legal systems, cryptocurrency can operate entirely outside them. Here's what we know beyond doubt. Cryptocurrency has been used to facilitate billions of dollars in illegal transactions, from drug markets to ransomware to sanctions evasion. The technology's design makes it easier to hide wealth than traditional finance in some ways, harder in others. Law enforcement has achieved significant victories, but faces structural challenges in a system designed to resist authority. Here's what remains uncertain: whether regulation can effectively control cryptocurrency without destroying its beneficial uses. Whether privacy and security can coexist in digital money. Whether the technology will ultimately liberate or endanger more people. The next phase of this story depends on decisions being made right now in courts, legislatures, and code repositories around the world. In the immediate term, expect increased regulation targeting the intersection points between cryptocurrency and traditional finance. The European Union's markets in crypto assets regulation took full effect in 2024, requiring exchanges to verify customer identities and report suspicious transactions. The United States is developing similar frameworks, with the Securities and Exchange Commission and Commodity Futures Trading Commission fighting over jurisdiction. These regulations will likely reduce but not eliminate the use of cryptocurrency for illicit purposes. Confidence level for stricter compliance requirements globally is high. Privacy coins face an uncertain future. Several major exchanges have already delisted Monero and Zcash under regulatory pressure. If this trend continues, these currencies may become difficult to convert into traditional money, limiting their practical use. However, decentralized exchanges that operate without corporate control could provide alternative pathways, creating a cat-and-mouse game between regulators and developers. The outcome depends partly on whether courts decide that privacy-preserving code itself is legal. Confidence level for this scenario remaining contested is medium to high. The technology itself will evolve. Developers are working on second-layer solutions that provide privacy on transparent blockchains and on making privacy coins more user-friendly. Law enforcement is investing in better blockchain analysis tools and artificial intelligence to track increasingly sophisticated laundering techniques. The arms race between hiding and finding will continue, likely with neither side achieving complete victory. What matters most is whether legitimate uses can flourish while criminal uses are sufficiently deterred. Confidence level for this technological competition intensifying is very high. The wild card is central bank digital currencies. If governments successfully deploy their own digital money with built-in surveillance, as discussed in parallel developments, they may restrict or ban decentralized cryptocurrencies entirely. This would force the choice between government-controlled transparency and outlawed privacy, eliminating the middle ground where cryptocurrency currently exists. Whether democracies take this path or find ways to accommodate both systems, remains one of the most consequential questions of the next decade. Confidence level for this becoming a major policy battleground is high. Cryptocurrency didn't create human greed, corruption, or the desire to hide wealth. It simply gave those impulses a new tool, one that's more powerful and more public than anything that came before. The same transparency that makes crime visible makes privacy impossible. The same freedom that helps dissidents also helps dictators. We're still learning whether the benefits outweigh the costs, and whether we can separate the two. If this investigation into hidden wealth left you wondering how money laundering works in traditional finance, watch our next documentary, The Panama Papers, How Banks Hide the World's Dirty Money, which exposes the trillion-dollar industry that existed long before Bitcoin. Source notes and disclaimer. This script is based on publicly available court documents, law enforcement press releases, annual reports from Chainalysis and Elliptic, United Nations reports on cybercrime and sanctions evasion, testimony before U.S. congressional committees, academic research on cryptocurrency usage, and verified journalism from financial and technology publications. Specific criminal allegations reference convicted cases or ongoing prosecutions with publicly filed evidence. Estimates of illicit transaction volumes come from blockchain analysis firms using proprietary methodologies and should be understood as informed approximations rather than exact figures. The cryptocurrency landscape evolves rapidly, and information was current as of early 2025. This analysis does not constitute financial, legal, or investment advice. Viewers should conduct independent research and consult appropriate professionals for personal financial decisions.